Next question is from Colleen. What product would you refuse to promote or advertise? I'm going to expand this to product or service. We've talked about what distinguishes our show from corporate media before. And we've talked about our relationship to advertisers and that entire thing. I won't redo that. There are many products that I've already refused to promote or advertise, as well as services. As far as services, check cashing and pawn shop type places, payday loans, etc., I just wouldn't do it. These are businesses that are sort of operating on the fringes of legality and are drastically taking advantage of poor people, lower middle income people. The bail bonds industry is another one. I would just not promote any of those businesses on the show, period. Now, as far as products, we've turned down a lot of advertisers. Some of them they tend to be sort of in the pseudoscience, energy products and so-called health supplements with completely unproven health benefits alleged on the products. Healthy energy bites I got where the number one ingredient was sugar. How could I possibly tell my audience that this is even remotely healthy, never mind is going to provide a brain boost or energy or whatever the hell it was that it supposedly provided? And I can think of a lot of other stuff. I mean, we had a chemical company which wanted to advertise on the show at one point. I turned that down. I wouldn't do a fossil fuel company. There's really a very long list, actually.
I mean, there are shows where it just seems like they're having the audience prepare for the apocalypse during the entirety of the show. And it seems just like it's a documentary or not a documentary, but an advertisement throughout the entire thing. An infomercial.
Yeah.
Is the word I was looking for. So, I mean, we have Jim Baker and his bonus buckets. I mean, those are a classic. We're not going to be advertising those on the show anytime soon, though.
If people are looking at the image that's over my shoulder, this is a still image this is actually supposedly like a religious TV show. But as Pat alluded to, it does appear to be just an infomercial offering the new bulk sampler bundle, which contains nearly 24,000 servings of something, which I guess would last you, I don't know, you do the math. I don't know how long. Years, right? I don't even know what the product is. I don't know if this is dehydrated mashed potatoes or oats or whatever.
Oh, yeah, they say about 20 years. So, I mean, if there's an apocalypse that happens, even though you may be in your 80s while you're watching this, you're good for the next 20 years.
You're good for the next, which I guess is nice to know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do the apocalyptic type products the way that Glenn Beck was doing at one point. I would be dubious about doing certain mobile apps. If I see the app as sort of, before it used to be much more clear when you had malware, straight up malware or malicious programs versus non-malware. The line is kind of blurry now because you do have apps that have some sort of official functionality, but really the main point of the app is to collect information and then sell it and sell you products and whatever. And sometimes we get approached by apps that seem pretty sketchy to me. And I've opted out of those. I think there's probably more products that would never even come to us because it's so obvious that we would never advertise what it is that they're selling on the program.
I mean, has there ever been a product or something where you thought they had a good name behind their brand and you start advertising for them, and then it turns out there's some big media controversy around the corner and you just didn't foresee that and you have to kind of backtrack away from them?
I don't think so. There have been times where I was approached by a company that I genuinely thought was a reputable company, and then I did more research and found endless allegations about being scammed by the company online, but it wasn't so much that there was like a huge public incident. A shock event, for lack of a better term. I like using that term. No, it hasn't exactly happened that way, but I've uncovered some pretty horrible stuff when researching advertisers in the past.